So I went to go charge my batteries today, and I have not had them actually out of the box in a bit. I've just been charging them in the box and not taking them out and following best practices and putting them into a LiPo bag and everything. So I actually was trying to start doing that. So in doing that, I took two of my batteries out and I actually ran into an issue. This battery right here is chafing on the inside of the box, and it's only on the one side, which is odd. And I guess it's just the way that it sits. The one side's a little bit too sharp, and I didn't strap the batteries down in any way. And in my MBS, when I snap the box down, there's a foam layer at the bottom and a foam layer at the top. And when the two foam layers press together, they kind of like secure the batteries in place. This one is just not tight enough, and it's allowing the batteries to slide around in there. I only have foam on the top. So what I'm going to do today is first I'm going to take a Dremel and I'm just going to whack around the edge and knock down where I'm having the chafing issue coming from to begin with. So that's going to be step one. And we're going to get the hot glue gun going, and we're going to drop in a layer of foam at the bottom, just some thin foam. Just a thin piece of foam like this, and we're going to use the hot glue to tack it down. Like I told you, hot glue, hot glue, hot glue. And this just brings me back to like best practices, and I just wanted to talk about best practices for a second. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's, you know, your car and making sure that your car is maintained and that you have gas in it and air in it and that it's oiled, and that before you go on a long trip you have it checked out or something to make sure that, you know, that the car is in good shape and that it's a drivable car or whatever, you know. So same thing with this. Really, before every ride on your skateboard, you should be checking to make sure that your nuts and bolts are tight, you know. What are your belts? What are your chains? How do the gears sound? Are your bolts tight? Are your pulleys on tight? You know, were you working on the board? I mean, before you go riding off, especially like, you know, the faster and faster you go or the crazier you get, you need to be running some of these checks. And some of them are just simple stuff like, you know, making sure your wiring doesn't look fucked up, you know, checking your air in your tires if you have tires, you know, but checking belt tension, chains, making sure your screws and nuts and bolts are tight. And then with lipo packs, like, be inspecting them. With lipo packs, you want to be looking for them to be swelling or anything or any damage to them. So I'm not totally sure what I'm going to do with this one yet. It is not cut into or chafed any cell. I don't know how. I literally caught it just in time. If I continue to ride like this and it had actually punctured a cell, this whole fucking board would be gone. I mean, once that would have started to go, it would have started a chain reaction, and once the chemical reaction happens where the lipos are exposed to air, you're not going to stop it, and it's going to go until it's gone, and it's going to burn so hot. And when you're talking about these graphene batteries, there is no fucking around. So the graphene lipo, whatever, any of them, you know, if they get damaged and they go, they're going to go and they're going to take any accompanying cells with them. And 3 of those Success 12A graphene lipo batteries would have been hella flamey, and there wouldn't have been anything left of this board. Yeah, so as far as the battery, I'm not sure, but yeah, let's take care of this. So I did both, dremeled the top of the lower piece along the rims of both sides of that inner ridge that was doing the chafing, and then I also did it up here on the lid. I couldn't hold the camera and dremel the lid at the same time because I had to hold it and do too much, so that turned out nice. So now I'm gonna go ahead, and I only have a little bit of hot glue, so we're gonna squeeze a bunch of hot glue in here real quick, drop this foam in, tack it down, yeah, and then go from there. So it turned out pretty good. Once I threw that down on the bottom and I got it tacked in there nicely, the batteries sit well. When I put the lid on, there's a little bit of gap. I can press the lid down with my hands and feel it press and, you know, kind of lock the batteries in. And I can press it all the way down with light weight. So it's not too much pressure. It's just enough to keep them from wiggling and moving around in there. I think it's a good deal, and we'll be good to go here. Fortunately, I have 4 of those LiPo batteries, and since I've went 18S, I've not looked back. I fucking don't want to do 12S on this board ever, probably, which I just think is hilarious. So I need to figure out how to repair that battery. A little bit sketched. It did not actually like puncture or anything or chafe through anything more than that outer heat shrink. So I guess I need to either wrap it in duct tape or find where I can get some heat shrink like that and put on it. Not totally sure, but like I said, at least I have 3 batteries still that I'm not sketched about, and I can do some research into that. What would you do with the battery? Let me know. Drop me a line in the comments below, y'all. Moral of the story is, you get your build together, you need any skateboard, you need to do your due diligence and check it and make sure shit's good before you ride. But especially when you're working on a fresh build, you're just going to run into little quirks here and there. So you need to keep paying attention for a while, and build that trust between yourself and the board. But, you know, work through the quirks with it, iron them out, and get it until it's nice and solid. So we're definitely on that journey, and it's definitely coming together nice. Thanks for checking it out, y'all. See you next video. Like, comment, subscribe.